In this edition of SmartBites, Nagendra Kumar discusses what it takes to deliver in clean code. He is the founder and CTO of Cages of Innovations and titles himself Code Doctor. Welcome, Raja. How can a manager enable a team that has varying skills to produce clean code?
Right. Most of the time, my experience with the industry is we have three attitudes in a system. One is a business attitude, other is a management attitude, and other is an engineering attitude. Where engineer really want to be perfect in what he does, manager wants to see the milestones are met, business wants about numbers. Now this is where actually it is more than a skill issue. It is actually how we are using the skills to the advantage. So that's why the entire industry says that there are skill gaps. Until I don't agree that there are really skill gaps. There are only skill usage gaps. So one of the way we always tell managers is enable the people where identify the inefficiencies of engineering and then try to enable them that these inefficiencies are coming down. That is one very important. He cannot just say that you deliver it by so and so time. Then he is not actually a manager, he is a Hitler. So he is supposed to listen to the engineers, or sometimes he himself can observe what are the inefficiencies and try to work on making sure that those inefficiencies are coming down. So second thing is the manager should understand refactoring, unit testing are actually saving time rather than asking for more time. So even if an engineer asks, you should ask him, you should tell him, he should be mature enough to say that they are meant to reduce the time. And yes, as I said, if that becomes a knowledge gap with the engineer, he has to enable them to see it as okay, it is a thought process which will save them more time. So one of the example we say is yes, if the unit tests are there, identifying bug becomes a 5-minute job. Otherwise, as more and more large code comes in, people don't know where the regressions has come. And to identify, we have seen people are putting system out println and taking 2 days, 3 days, and then suddenly they get lost in that approach. So what we say is you don't have to be perfect in writing unit tests, but as and when you start seeing the bug, first he has to enforce that can we expose the bug at a unit level. And if somebody says legacy code, he has to understand that some today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow we have to change the legacy code. So better start giving the time for today so that tomorrow is better. So where it is actually the manager has to marry with the engineering without losing his past engineering skills rather than completely buying business goals. So there is a way to match all of this. Try to see how best engineers are enabled to see clean code as a way to run faster, safer, rather than working like a blue collar.
Organizations today strive for innovation. How can we foster this?
See, the innovation we can classify it as fresh innovation which does not exist, or you have to make it better than what it is now. So in the context of clean code and technical debt, see most of the innovation can come from trying to make things better than what it is, because and there is so much of each product is doing billions of dollars of business, and if you are not doing it better, actually we say few billions are actually hidden. If you know how to innovate within what is existing, there are few more billions can get added, because it could be that you may find new features, new way of doing it, or you are able to run faster than the competition and then acquiring more customers faster. And any product makes money by people adopting it, and if you can reduce the customization time and improve adding more features, then there are hundreds of features can come in. And one of the technique I follow for this kind of innovation is keep a code clean. Most of the time because people are living with technical debt, patchwork, being inefficient, they are not able to see what can be done better. So most of the time, there is so much of code, so much of pressure, they are not able to see what can be innovated. And if you start simplifying this baggage, automatically you will see tons of innovative patents can come in from the same product. And this is coming from my experience, where when I used to work in Sun Microsystems, 10 years of legacy code, they were being that was one of the best product being sold by in a hardware company like Sun, trying to be a software company. But most of the time, because they got lost on the fire, the solution itself was actually got lost somewhere. There could have been a better way of solving it, which can actually improve the more adaptability and then reduce the support tickets. And then one, we did all the refactoring, unit testing, eliminated technical debt, we were able to find a better solution, and that was patented, and it is actually a patent now. That way, most of the time, people living in a product world, if they know how to simplify or remove the technical debt, and automatically it starts become simpler, and then they will start questioning the solution, and that solution can give a lot more innovative ideas.
We have been trying to bring in accountability in results with T&M/fixed bid approach. But both the models seem to have a challenge, resulting in high technical debt. From your experience, is there a better approach?
Yeah, I think, as I said, one of the reason is, your business world, managed world, engineering world, they're not connected well in any of these models. So one of the thing I say is time and material is supply bodies, and then, customer is supposed to know how to get best from them. And this is actually a big myth, where it is like, I want to go to a doctor, and I instruct the doctor on how to cure me. So this has its flaws even in the basic thinking, and that's where most of the time gets sold on putting a body there, and they're not. That's where I think there's a big gap there. And by nature, products requirements evolve, and everybody wants to give either they don't want to give any requirement and then say you commit on a fixed bid, or they give 300 pages requirement and then they say you commit. So this by nature, as because Agile also, Agile is trying to break that in some form, but that is also people started seeing it as oh, there is no planning, there is no deadline. People started complaining it. So that way, fixed bid with change requests become another debate, and then finally engineers get derailed in proving even bugs as features, or they don't want to agree that or the client is actually getting into debates where he says this is the requirement which is already there. So some of these, because we have worked with more than 50,000 people in the last 15 years, and a lot of code we have analyzed, close to 400 million lines of code. What we say is that this is a contractually solvable problem connecting all these business leaders, managers and engineers, and which we call it as Micro Agile Fixed Bid. What we mean by Micro Agile Fixed Bid is, if the customer wants a Taj Mahal, he can put a goal and then cost, and which he need not commit to us. But what we say is, yes, towards that goal, this is a micro fixed bid which can be delivered in a week or a month. That way, what happens, customer is not committing entire fixed bid in millions, but as engineers can say that this much I can do, which is connecting to that Taj Mahal, and in such a cost. And if that is good, then customer is happy, and then engineer is happy to write unit tests and refactoring part of it, because he is supposed to meet that goal. Engineer need not ask a customer saying that should I write unit tests, should I do refactoring, should I fix this bug, which is an extra cost. Okay, time and material gives different attitude for engineers. So this is what it has worked for us on an agile micro fixed bid, where because it is micro agile, tomorrow with this learning, to next month when we are asking for a next micro agile fixed bid, we tell the customer that these are the problems. If you want to correct your requirements, correct the requirements, and there is no change request required. So that way, if you give freedom to the engineers to voice out which is not impacting the customers goals, we have seen all of them actually becoming better and better. At the same time, we are not selling the time and body, we are actually selling real work, professional results which are of high quality, and it is getting the best value from the engineering skill of the people. At the same time, businesses last mile is getting de-risked, because it is exactly like a monolith approach with micro services. So there is no difference. We are only saying that don't ask for don't ask for agile being a contract, being waterfall kind. So that is something you can apply a waterfall at a micro level, so that people can apply agile at a micro level, and then they are able to marry. So Micro Agile Fixed Bid is actually marrying best of the both worlds, both time and material, and at the same time change fixed bids without change requests.
In this digital age, what do you believe is the role of human intellect in QA?
Right. So basically, now that products meaning is not that you sell it to one or two clients. It will millions of clients coming in. The QA role has become 10x. Which in fact the way I want to classify is, now QA has to start behaving as a first client themselves. So they have to not just get into the requirement, but they have to always be wearing the hat of a customer in the digital age, which could be hundreds of varieties of customers. That is one thing they have to really start acting on. So no more just say I have complained to SRS. Second is, cloud has given them too many configuration approaches. How do you deploy? How do you scale? How do you perform? So one is the software scale and other is coming from hardware. Now all these configurations are not easy to be done, even by QA if they want to do it manually. They have to become coders. So basically the DevOps and QA, now previously they were actually humans. Yes, I think that's where I think you said no brain required. But now they have to start using a bigger, their intellect so well that they are able to handle so many varieties of deployment, so many customers intent they are able to bring into the developers. That's one. And then if they have any problem in testing it, they have to communicate to development saying that, boss, this is a requirement, I am not able to test. Make sure that the developer addresses it, because that is a good input for a great developer. If it is not testable, if it is not maintainable, or if it is, then which means it is not verifiable, which is not a good way to say I have done as a developer. And then in fact I also say it is lot of information in enterprise is coming from various sources. One is the QA, one is the support, other is the production. All this they are supposed to do first level of filtering. Why they were not able to capture that, and then give it in a way where developers are able to consume it faster. If they can really do that well, as I said, they are fulfilling not just a QA job, they are representing thousands of varieties of customers, thousands of configurations in the cloud. All that complexity they are able to bring in lot of intellect, and then they are not totally depending on developer, or they are actually, as I said, they have to become developers at a next level. So they have to know coding to some extent, or if they know larger extent, it is good, but they are not small things which can be just said, okay, so you train somebody and then they will be a QA.